A caravan of camels makes its way across the vast sea of sand, following a route between shifting dunes that sometimes rise several hundred feet high. The camels trudge along at a steady 2 miles per hour, each carrying nearly 400 pounds of salt from the salt mines in the desert. The heat is brutal. The sun is high overhead, and the sand is reflecting its heat. Fortunately, camels are designed for this kind of heat. Their long legs keep their bodies well above the burning sand, their stomach holds lots of water, and their humps contain fat which can be used for energy when food supplies are short. But the humps have begun to sag, a sign the camels have gone too long without food. The caravan leaders are not worried. They know that just over the horizon is an oasis, where they and their animals can rest in the shade and replenish their food and water supplies. The camels can each drink as much as 25 gallons of water, and their humps will firm up with the graze at the oasis. The food and water they take in at the oasis will be enough to last for about a week. The Sahara is a patchwork desert of rocky mountains, salt flats, gravel plains, and sand seas that stretches about 3,000 miles across Africa from the Atlantic Ocean in the west to the Red Sea in the east. It is 1,200 miles from north to south and covers 3.5 million square miles, an area as large as the United States. Daytime temperatures in the summer have been recorded as high as 136 degrees Fahrenheit, and that does not take into account how hot it feels when the sun beats down. But like most deserts, the Sahara does not hold a daytime heat, and nighttime temperatures can sometimes drop to freezing during the cooler months of the year. The Sahara is drier than most deserts, with an average rainfall of less than 4 inches per year, but there are many years in which no rainfall in some parts of the desert. Nevertheless, the Sahara does have widely scattered permanent water sources, such as oases. And the world's longest river, the Nile, runs through the eastern part of this largest of all deserts. Despite its apparent barrenness, the Sahara supports a variety of plant and animal life. Many plants have specialized root systems that reach deep into the earth to find water. Animals large and small inhabit the Sahara. There are antelopes that rarely drink water but get their moisture from the shrubs on which they feed. Gazelles, wild mountain sheep, and the small fennec fox, whose large ears help keep it cool by radiating heat from its body, make the Sahara home. Except for the Nile River Valley, the Sahara is very sparsely populated. Only 2.5 million people live in the rest of this vast desert. Far to the south of the Sahara, on the other side of the equator, a young lioness and her mate feast on their recent kill. A wildebeest brought down near a water hole where the wildebeest had gone to drink. The animals are in the game reserve in the center of the Kalahari Desert. Unlike the scorched earth of the Sahara, the Kalahari has a rich assortment of plants and wildlife. Because of this, it is sometimes referred to as a thirstland rather than a desert. The Kalahari is a large basin, covering an area almost as large as the state of Texas and lying in the central part of southern Africa. As in other deserts, rain is scarce here and does not fall in predictable patterns. Most of the Kalahari averages about 5 inches of rain per year. Yet some parts get more than 15 inches, which usually is enough moisture to support a variety of wildlife: wildebeest, antelopes, jackals, elephants, giraffes, zebras, and many small animals, birds, and reptiles. Over thousands of years, one group of people called the San or Bushmen learned to adapt remarkably well to the dry conditions of the Kalahari. The San learned how to find and preserve water. They used ostrich eggs as storage containers. Ostrich eggs are the largest eggs laid by any bird. One ostrich egg can hold as much liquid as 2 dozen chicken eggs. The San made a pinhole at each end of an ostrich egg. Then they blew out the insides, which they used for food. After a rain, they filled the hollow eggshells with water and tightly plugged the 2 ends. Then they buried the filled shells in sand along their routes. When the droughts came, as they always did, the San had a water supply.